Welcome. Welcome. We are about to start. This is one of our best. This is the most unusual one. You will never see this anywhere else. But welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts.
And I'm Camille Barron, a healthcare advisor and a financial coordinator also in Sharon, Massachusetts. And why don't you tell our viewers why this episode will be one like they've never seen before?
Okay, we have a couple, and you can see them in Florida, and they have little two babies that are twins that they got through the surrogate. And the only thing, this is my nephew and his beautiful wife, Allison, John Eric and Allison. The last time John Eric was on was about 9 years ago. He was doing glass blowing. And this is just unbelievable. But I'm going to let them tell you. Look at I just got one question. Why do they both look like John? Although the girl looks like a little girl and the boy, oh my God. But welcome, John and Allison. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then tell us the whole thing about these babies and this whole beautiful story. And I promise I won't interrupt.
Oh, it's okay. Well, hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
So Allison and I, we've been together for a number of years, and we wanted to start a family. And what we basically, you got part of it right. We were looking to find a surrogate locally in Florida. So the kids are ours, but you're looking basically to you're looking for another oven to bake the cake. So we tried in locally, and we sort of got immersed in the world of surrogacy, which is, it's sort of like the Wild West. And I probably should write a book or something, because there's no guide to tell you what to expect and what have you. But what happened is, you know, we had a couple of, I'll be nice and say that they were false starts. And as a result of that, what we did is we said we would be open to, we met a wonderful attorney, Robert Terenzio, and he sort of plugged us into this national network. And once we opened ourselves up to being open to the thought of having a surrogate, not only just another state away, but several states away, we found a surrogate in Utah. So that required us to take the embryos from here and ship them there. And it was only after we went out there and met everybody, and there's a lot involved. But basically, we had a surrogate out in Utah, and over the course of a year, we did some transfers and whatnot, and nothing really took. And we had a lot going on in our own lives that made everything a little more stressful. And we were ready to sort of just say, yeah, you know, we're kind of done. It's emotionally draining. It's financially draining. It's not inexpensive, but it's more the time and the emotions, the ups and the downs. So we were sort of kind of like done with it. And then the woman in Salt Lake, she was really wonderful, Tanya. And when Alice and I were sort of just
The coordinator.
Yeah, the coordinator. So she like, we stopped really communicating with her, and we got a phone call, and they said, hey, there's a young lady that we think would be a great surrogate for you guys. And we said at the time, if we're gonna do this, let's do 2 transfers, because if at least one will take, and if both take, that's great. And then lo and behold, both took, and we're fortunate enough to have a nice little boy and a nice little girl.
Where was the lawyer from? Was he local to you?
So he was in Tampa, and he, again, before COVID, and we need to talk about COVID because that plays a big part of this, but he is one of the world's top sought after speakers on the subject of surrogacy and surrogacy law and all of that kind of stuff. So just even getting him when he wasn't in, Los Angeles or Berlin or, Caracas or wherever speaking, he's really a very nice man, and he stuck with us. We actually, I think probably had at least 3 surrogates. They don't, you try.
Our third was the one that we got.
Yeah, the third was the lucky one.
What happened with the other 2?
Well, it's not really anything I want to go into in detail, but what happens is, you can replace money. There's 3 elements. There's money, there's time, and there's trust. And I would say you can't replace time. You can replace money, but you also cannot replace trust. And, you're super vulnerable as you're doing this. And as much as they vet the surrogates, sometimes they're not worthy of the trust. The time you can't get back. The money, you can recoup money, but the trust, once it's gone. And, we're super forgiving and understanding and accepting, but there's some stuff, from a trust standpoint that are non-negotiable with us. So we sort of went through a lot of ups and downs. The third surrogate was a sweetheart. We didn't know it at the time, but she kept a scrapbook of all of her doctor visits and the sonograms, and
she mailed it to us in an album.
She mailed it to us in an album. It was one of the sweetest and most generous things anyone's ever done.
Why did she do it? Did she have any kids of her own, or what was her?
Yeah, she has 2 small children. Why did she do the why did she become a surrogate?
Yeah.
I think because she could, and she does have 2 small children of her own.
Her aunt wanted to be a mother, and that.
Yeah, her aunt wasn't all able to have kids, and she saw it as a blessing if she could do this for somebody. I mean, we're eternally grateful for her. I mean, how we started our family, obviously. So,
what are the names of these beautiful children?
Well, our daughter is Sydney Elise.
Oh,
Pretty.
And our son is David Finley.
Wow,
Beautiful.
they are beautiful. How old are they?
Well,
good question.
Yeah.
They're 3 months and 2 weeks.
But
gestationally, they're just a few weeks.
Well, because it's interesting. Again, nothing can be normal for us. They've been with us for 3 months and 2 weeks, but they have what they call an adjusted age, where they subtract out what they are premature from a developmental standpoint. So they're 3 months, they're 3.5 months, but they're not going to do the things that a full-term baby would do at 3.5 months, which makes sense because the first 2 months of their life, they were just surviving. So,
in the NICU unit in Utah.
In a NICU, yeah.
How early were they?
10 weeks early.
10 weeks.
Oh.
They were born at 30 weeks.
She was 2 pounds 1 ounce when I held her. Look at her now.
Oh my goodness.
What do they weigh now?
She's about 8.5 pounds.
Oh boy.
And he's about 9.5. So we're trying to, you feed them a lot. We want them to try to grow about 0.5 pound a week, up, give or take. But one big diaper can put you back a little bit. So you move forward. Yeah.
Well, look at her. She wants to know what's going on.
Yeah, she's very alert, isn't she?
Hi,
She's
Sydney.
in charge. Sydney's in charge.
She's very alert. She always.
Yes.
She
So
looks
tell
like
us
a
what it's
little
been
girl.
like.
Oh.
What's it been like since you've had the babies?
We have normal chaos in our life every day anyway, so
Just more chaos.
it's not too stressful.
Alison, get in the camera a little more. Sometimes you
Too
beautiful
stressful.
face-
I mean, we're used to being busy people and on the go, and we're used to being up most of the day. you
But
know,
tell our viewers what happened when you went out there. You got a call 10 weeks early. Tell us that whole story, because it's fascinating.
actually,
Okay.
we got a call at 29 weeks, and she was in the hospital for a couple days, and they were able to subside her labor because she was going into labor at 29 weeks. So they gave her some medication and sent her home, and it was on a Friday. And then John and I were hoping that she could go a few more weeks because we knew it was going to come much sooner than the scheduled C-section, which was July 23rd. So, yeah, exactly. Like Friday morning, we get a phone call. Ooh, sorry.
Oh my goodness. How many living things do you have in this house? Anyway?
We got a lot going on.
This is Cody, and this is Demi, so they'll settle down.
So when they're up during the night, they're up too. So it's 4 babies we're taking care of. So our surrogate called me. I was actually on my way to breakfast, and my surrogate called, and she said, "They're coming. I can't hold them in any longer." Hospital, they're wheeling me into the OR, and like shocked because I wasn't expecting it that day. She actually drove herself to the hospital and didn't even tell her husband. She called him when she got to the hospital, and then he came over there and was in the delivery with her. And he actually shot the video, FaceTimed it. So John and I were able to watch it live, them being born.
Oh, how exciting that must have been.
Yeah, but we weren't together because we were both like on our way to work. My mother was with me in the car, and so we pulled over on the side of the road, and we saw both of them come out. And Juan was by himself in another car at a bank, and he was able to pull over and watch it as well.
Oh.
So yeah, you know, there wasn't any major complications.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What was the weather like in Utah at that time?
Very warm, very hot.
It's like Arizona.
But they were incubated for like a while, and they had some issues with like jaundice and
Feeding and
feeding.
there's a lot of, I don't know, am I on there? There's a lot of challenges, obviously, when they're so early, and they had feeding tubes. They're force fed.
Well, they had feeding tubes for like most of the, like 2 weeks before that they were leaving.
Yeah. So in the NICU, what they want to do is replicate, obviously, what it would be like if they were still, in utero, I guess would be the term, or whatever. So, they were in separate little isolates, and it's pretty gut wrenching because, you know, here you are, hey, you're a new parent, and the kid is in the hospital with wires and all sorts of stuff, and there's nothing you can do to help them. And then what was nice was they were in separate little isolates, and then when they got big enough, they put them in a joint one, so they were together.
They put them in there together the night we left, which was good.
Yeah.
The night
Joint isolate. Is that cute?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's really hard. They've got like a heart monitor on, a pulse ox on their foot, and then, so like I was saying, when we were out there and we held Sydney was 2 pounds, 1 ounce. I mean, just the tiniest little thing. And then, so what we figured was we'd go out there like every weekend or every other weekend because of FaceTime and whatever, we could keep in touch, you know, and see them.
We saw them like about 4 or 5 times a day through FaceTime, and we were involved in doctors, the rounds with the medical team.
Mm-hmm.
They would call us every morning with a group of like 8 to 10, and then we would be included in those rounds. And then throughout the day, the nurses would call us and do FaceTime. And I think when we did like 1 a.m. calls, anytime we wanted to call, we were allowed to call, and the nurses would call us back on an iPhone and FaceTime us, so we would be able to talk to them and see them.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like flying there?
Well, when we were flying out there, yeah, I mean, even if there wasn't COVID and what have you, I mean, just, you know, no direct flights and jet lag and whatnot. And, but I'd say the biggest challenge was we when we started this, it was like whatever, September of 19, or I guess, was it earlier than that? August of 19?
With the surrogate?
Yeah.
Well, she got pregnant in October.
October. So we figured, we fly out there. We'd been to Utah a couple of times. It's really nice. People are nice. It's easy to get to there, and it wasn't going to be a big deal. But the preemie aspect was really difficult, just emotionally, because at night, Allison and I would lie in this bed, and you're looking at your baby who's in this NICU, and you're looking on FaceTime, and you can't hold them. And, the nurses were asking us, like, oh, is it okay if we hold them for you? And it's like, yeah, sure. But I mean, that even just asking somebody to hold your kid is a hard thing to do. But so once they were born, we went out there twice, and then the COVID concern got so bad that they actually told us that we couldn't come back.
It skyrocketed in St. George.
Yeah.
So, and plus in Florida, it was a hot zone too.
Yeah, sure.
We were afraid to travel and bring something to them.
Well, they
Or
wouldn't let
even bring
us.
something back to our family as well. And the first time we were there, when we left, they put them back on the oxygen. Or no, the second time, it was Father's Day weekend. And as we were leaving, they decided to put them back on oxygen because they were having issues. And like, we were holding them that whole weekend. So like, we were concerned that we could have given them something.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We just wanted them to be safe.
How did you get them back to Florida?
Yeah.
Didn't you have to wait until they were a certain weight or something? And
Well, yeah, so there's certain criteria that they want them to hit. It's kind of funny because Sydney.
The door.
Go. Watch it.
Go. Oh,
at least they're
What's
good
going
with the
on?
babies, huh?
yeah.
All right. So when they wouldn't get discharged if they didn't hit certain milestones. So I flew out there July what? 19th?
July. You flew out on a Friday before July.
Because I came home on the 23rd. So the staff was ready to discharge Sydney before I got out there. And that was the other thing that was crazy, because a lot of times with twins, they'll discharge one and not the other. But because we're so far away, we're asking them to discharge them at the same time. But they were ready to discharge Sydney almost a week before David. So, we asked them to kind of put that on a slow roll. And, things like holding a bottle, not holding a bottle, but drinking from a bottle and sitting up and all of these things. So she was ready to go maybe
Sunday.
48 hours before I got out there. I got out there on a Saturday. That Sunday, they discharged her at 9 a.m. And then King David here was sort of a lazy eater. And he just had no sense of urgency. Now, normally it wouldn't have been a big deal, but the fact that we had just flown out there. But one thing that's really amazing is the NICU staff was not going to release the kids to us if we were going to fly them home commercially. So I was going to just rent a Suburban or an RV, but a company in the Tampa area very generously donated one of their planes. So the company is called Jet ICU, and they have a fleet of Lear jets that are equipped. They're basically flying ICU units. So they had heard about our situation, and the owner of the company offered to fly us and the kids home from Utah on one of their ICU planes.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So the plane is over at the St. George Airport, and Sydney is a rock star, so she's ready to go like 3 days early.
Is this a
And-
story? Is this a story that you
No, it's the truth.
want to hear it?
What's that?
No, you just don't hear about these things. That's why I had to talk about hanging in there. I had to keep after you too. When will you come on? When will you come on? When will you come on? And we got you on. I was really so excited about this.
It's really just a bunch of crazy.
And the joy in your faces is so contagious, and you can just feel it for you.
Well, look at this.
This is
Look at this.
it's great. So what happened? So who did they donate the plane plus the pilot?
They donated the plane and the
And his
crew,
medical team, too.
medical
Oh.
team, and we were waiting on David, this little guy, right
And he
here.
weighed more than her at birth.
Yes, no sense of urgency. He's sleeping through his Hollywood debut here.
Yeah.
And the plane was on the tarmac. We were waiting for him, and we had brought a baby nurse with us, and we flew out Thursday morning, and he was only discharged Friday late morning. So it was funny. I said to the nurse, like, listen, I got a private plane out here at the airport. If all it is him taking this bottle, you can turn around and I'll drink the bottle, because I got to get this kid out of this hospital. So,
That's Uncle Jerry in the background laughing.
well, I'm not really kidding, because we had this plane. It was a $40,000 plane ride they donated to us, and I didn't want it to go. I didn't want it to be like abusive or whatever. So the plane was sitting there, and like I said, Sydney was ready to go, and we were waiting on David. So he got discharged, and not even 24 hours later, he's on a
Right.
Lear 6. We made it from St. George, Utah is in the southwest corner, about 2 hours outside of Vegas. We made it from St. George, Utah to Tampa in about 3.5 hours.
Boy, how were the babies during that time?
They were hooked up to oxygen,
Oh,
and I could send you some pictures. They were pretty cool. I thought Sydney was going to fly the plane. She was totally in control, and then this one was just sort of like he is right now, just sort of happy to be there, not
you
worried.
know what they say? Little boys want to be little boys, and little girls want to take over. So what?
Well, she's in charge. We have that happening right here.
But tell our viewers too, what you told me about the owner of the plane. It's been in touch with you since then.
Yeah, well, they're we actually got some onesies made, and as we take pictures, they've been a part of it. It's nice. It's really nice that they didn't want anything. They just actually the only thing they wanted was for us to not worry about getting them home.
And
And
they took us door to door, our house.
Oh.
yeah, when we landed at the airport, they had a shuttle for us and everything. I mean, it's just nice, and it's funny because I have to tell you, at first, when this all happened, I was just sort of a typical caveman. I was like, all right, I'll rent an RV. We'll throw the kids in the RV and I'll just drive it. But the challenge is with the oxygen and their needs, you can't just throw them in a vehicle, even an RV.
And you don't want to stop and risk.
Listen, we're going to be winding up soon, but I wanted to.
Okay.
There's more to this, because in the Jewish religion, you have to have well, I guess you didn't do it, but you have to have a bris, which is
We did
a
it.
circumcision, and
Yeah.
even for a girl, a baby naming. Tell our viewers how you managed to do this and let everybody join.
Oh, well, I mean,
Set
again,
up.
we did it through Zoom, which is odd,
Amazing.
but we had Allison had contacted and connected with the baby nurse probably a year prior, and we had everything kind of on our dining room table done. So the rabbi was in Tampa, we were in St. Pete. We had a doctor come in and perform this procedure on him on our table. I still haven't had a meal on that table yet, but naming ceremony, and he got a little bit of wine, and that was that.
He's still sleeping from it.
Yeah. Well, he won't sleep tonight. He'll be up.
I'll be up all night.
We'll all be
Tell
up.
us what your nights are like. I mean, like what supposedly is bedtime until morning. What's that like?
Usually, when we come home from work, we'll feed them and bathe them
It's like all
and try and get them
over.
swaddled by 7:30.
Yeah,
Sleep till like around 11 or
Yeah.
12, and then we feed them again. But then after that, it just rotates every night. Sometimes they're up all night, or one will keep the other one up.
yeah.
You gotta speak up a little bit, please.
And so we pretty much move ourselves into the kitchen and stay up with them all night with the bouncies and feeding them and
Dogs.
the dogs, because the dogs
The
now get up
dogs.
as well. And
Those are
they're-
new dogs, aren't they?
Just one of them. We rescued one in February, and then Demi is going to be 14 next month.
Oh,
Both
boy.
turned 6, so we
It's
didn't want to
amazing. What do you think? This is amazing. Is there anything else you wanna?
So
let us know?
what
I
are
know
you
that-
feeding them?
Formula.
They're on
Infamil,
Similac
similar.
Pro Sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
but now we may switch Sydney to Infamil No Spit Up because she's having some issues with spitting up. So usually, like after we feed her, we keep her upright for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if we're feeding her in the middle of the night, we're pretty much up all night because we don't want to risk putting her down. And
Yeah.
she has
Boy,
to
she seems very alert, little Sydney.
yeah, she is.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
it.
he's jealous of all the attention.
This is just, thank you so much. This is, Camille, you got anything else?
I'm just speechless.
Camille's a new grandmother.
Oh, congratulations! You can tell her that how to do that. You got what, 12?
I got 12.
Yes, she sure does. Yeah.
I got 12. Well, anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so
for
much.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Julie, this Uncle Jerry's in the background.
How you doing,
Hi, Uncle
Allison?
He
Jerry.
didn't want
Hey, Uncle Jerry.
We're doing
he
good.
didn't,
We're
he
doing
didn't
well.
want to miss out. So
Yeah.
we're letting him break it up, but we let the dogs come in too, so.
I think the dogs add to the character of the whole
Yeah,
interview.
yeah, but Camille has to wind up.
You're
Okay.
just
Okay.
Camille's our wind-up lady.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again, John Eric and Allison. It's lovely to meet you
nice to meet
and
you.
your 2 beautiful children.
You're welcome.
Thank
To our viewers, this is quite an amazing story. If you'd like more information on this topic, please let us know. We'll be happy to connect you. And on the other hand, if you would like to give us any feedback or have your suggestions for other stories related to COVID-19, please let us hear from you. Because remember, this is your show, the law,
Oh,
the
you
money, and
And
you.
you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Hi.
thank you. This is wonderful.
you.